You know who I didn't hear from this entire time in Ukraine and this whole conflict?
Who?
Feminists.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. When all them women were getting all them trains with them old niggas, right? And the men had to stay behind because you were between the ages of 18 to 65.
Crickets.
I hear a single feminist say,
Crickets.
we want to be in equal footing with the men, staying at the front line.
Crickets.
I didn't hear a single one.
And you know what? You're absolutely right. And I'm a feminist, and I'm going to say it with a straight face. You are absolutely right. Welcome back, y'all. It's Bianca Woke Up Late, and we got another video for you guys today. Today I'm reacting to Abra and Preach. I think this has something to do with the situation over in Ukraine. It's called Men Must Stay Behind. Why women left Ukraine, men must stay behind. And, you know, they're usually funny and their commentary is funny. I've reviewed some of their videos before. They're not always the most informed people on planet, but they're like your everyday average Joe type of guys that, you know, they know some things, but they don't know everything. And yeah, so like, let's just get right into the video.
I thought it was really funny.
What?
Someone said this, they're like, yo, bro, you know who I didn't hear from this entire time in Ukraine and this whole conflict?
Who?
Feminists.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. When all them women were getting all them trains with them old niggas, right? And the men had to stay behind because you were between the ages of 18 to 65.
Crickets.
I hear a single feminist say,
Crickets.
we want to be in equal footing with the men, staying at the front line.
Crickets.
I didn't hear a single one.
Crickets.
You never notice? It's always about equal rights, equal representation. Or bitch, get on the front lines and grab a rifle. I got a train ticket to catch.
I gotta cook dinner.
Absolutely. And I'll say it with a straight face. Absolutely. Like, when it comes, like, come on now. Like, I can say it with a straight face as a feminist. No, I don't want to join your war. I don't. And if you're bringing war to me, I'm going to head out. Like, that's really, and that is the right that women have, and that's a right that men must fight for. If you guys don't want to have to be forced into war, then maybe fight for that right. But there's nothing I can do because I don't want to be a part of it. And we don't have to get into specifics, but no, I'm not interested in fighting your war. That's just that. Like, feminism, like I've said before on this channel, has nothing to do with being the same. It means having the opportunity to do the same things. It's seeing each other as equals, meaning if a woman wants to go fight, she can. That's what that's about. So if you guys want to be able to not fight, you should fight for that. I'll be right there with you because I don't want to go nowhere. I don't want to go to war. I'm anti-war.
I gotta be in the kitchen.
Hey, baby, you got my apron? I got a train to catch.
Come on now. You go to war. I'll just stay here with the kids.
Yeah.
Guys.
Listen, I heard they got a home in Poland that needs some cleaning. I'm out this bitch. And look, to be fair, I'm not saying it's a bad thing that these ladies got on. Generally speaking,
I understand.
If you speak to a lot of soldiers who actually do combat roles, not support roles, because I'm of the mindset that women can be in the military, it's not an issue. Well, when it comes to combat roles, okay, a lot of dudes, and you're not going to like this opinion, you don't like hearing it from me, I'm just telling you the truth. I ask most dudes who do actual combat roles on deployments, they're saying having females there is generally not a good thing. It's not a good thing. And you guys don't understand this.
If
you guys don't understand this.
Hold
on. I just want to separate the two things, okay? Because combat roles are very different than support roles. In the military, when you jump in, there's a bunch of things. People who are technicians, people who work on vehicles, people who work as supports. You got cooks, you got medics, you got everything, okay? When you work in a support role, the odds of you seeing combat are like almost zero, okay? That's why I always cringe when people are like, thank you for your service. Like, nigga, find out what job they did because they might not have done shit, all right? People come up to me sometimes and say, thank you for your service.
I mean, I totally get what he's saying. Like, when it comes to the military, everybody just assumes that everyone in the military is just, like, walking around with guns and, like, doing all this combat work. And it's like, no, the military is like a world within itself where there are cooks, there are people that clean, there are, you know, obviously management, there's accounting, you know, there's maintenance, technicians, like, you know, there's a whole bunch of different jobs. There's doctors, nurses, all that stuff. It's literally every category of like civilization, like pretty much exists within the military. So like I get it, and like that's what I mean by like women do have a place within the military and should also get the opportunities. But I can understand what he's saying, where men have an issue with women being in the combat roles, and now that's a men's issue. They have an issue with that. So I get it, and it could probably make it very risky for women that are in combat roles with a bunch of men, because a lot of women don't want to be in combat roles, because who wants to be the first one and only woman in combat on a mission with a bunch of guys for like a year? Like it could be very hard for a woman to do that. And we get it, there's like different like training things and just in general, but you know, there's a lot that goes into it, and I feel like I understand what he's saying. So like if women want to support the military in like their own way, then I feel like that should be where the equality is, that they have the opportunity to do so, not necessarily that we are forcing the military to be 50% women, 50% men. I don't think that makes any sense.
I'm like, I didn't do nothing.
You didn't get.
I didn't do
the point.
nothing. No, thank you for your tax dollars, stupid. It's not the same job, okay? Go. I know this because I listen. I respect it, okay? When I talk to people who did actual combat roles, when I'm talking to niggas who done like special forces, they understand there's levels to it, okay? In that same token, when you're in a frontline role, it's a liability, okay? That whole like gender representation, it's a liability. It's not reasonable. It's not feasible, okay? So I'm fine with them putting them on the trains, but I think it's also important for ladies to recognize that young men are being put to the front lines to save these territories and to protect these places and to put their lives on the line. And that doesn't get highlighted enough. I don't hear people saying that looks like toxic masculinity. Do you hear that?
Never.
No. What is that? Is that good talk? Good masculinity?
Yeah, that's a good one. When you get to
the Russians are the evil masculinity, the bad toxic one,
Yeah.
and then the Ukrainians are the good masculinity.
The man that's staying to fight are the good masculinity.
What about the ones who are attacking? Is that the toxic masculinity?
That's the toxic masculinity.
Okay, that's right.
But if you're replying,
Yes.
you're the good kind.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean?
You see, like I like how they're trying to like break it down and like they're trying to be sarcastic about it, obviously, and like trying to explain the good type of masculinity, the toxic masculinity, or whatever the case may be. But when you really look at it, and we're talking about war here, I mean, who started the war? Like it wasn't a bunch of women that like started blowing things up. It was men. So it does have a, I guess, toxic masculinity component to it. And then the idea of, you know, America coming in to protect everything and NATO and all this stuff. Like, I don't know. I don't have all the details. But, like, I don't know how old the boys that they're sending into the war are. I would hope they're not actual boys and that they're just young men. I would hope that young men really aren't being sent into this war that randomly popped up, because it's kind of sad. You don't want that. But when he says, hey, it's a liability to have women on the front lines, yeah, we know. And it's not just about it being, you know, a gender stereotype type thing. It has more to do with just at least for me, because I'm not a maniac. Like, it, to me, it just has to do with the science of it all. Like, when we're talking about rebuilding civilization, we know how many bodies we need for this and how many bodies we need for that. Now, if you were to obliterate 90% of the women and have the other 90% of men living and only obliterate 10% of the men, you're going to have a repopulation issue. If 90% of the men were gone and 90% of the women were still here, you wouldn't have a repopulation issue. Women's bodies literally give birth to people, right? Men's bodies don't do that. So the inherent value of a woman's life in a war sense or in a civilization sense skews more upwards to her protection, right? So you want to protect a woman not only because she's a human being, she deserves protection, but because of her inherent worth and value of her actual body, like because of what it can do, right? I don't want to sound insensitive about it, but essentially, like, if a man was to if like just give the scenario, a man and a woman getting shot, right? If a man impregnated a woman, you know, and then he's shot, the woman can still have a baby. If a woman is impregnated and she gets shot, she can't have the baby. So like you lose out on the potential for population growth when you lose women. Like that's what happens. So I think that essentially that's my whole reason initially for like not wanting war. If I'm being honest, I don't like it. I don't like the idea. But again, if men want to war, then men should do that on their own.
Yeah.
Like, you have to leave, okay?
Yeah.
And you stay behind, like you leave your man behind.
Right.
That's not toxic masculinity.
Okay.
Because you don't get the fight. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because your man's going to get the fight. That's not toxic, though.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not toxic.
Yeah. So like it's like if I'm in a relationship with a girl,
yeah,
right, and she's talking some shit,
yeah,
but then the dude wants to talk some shit back and get aggressive. If I come in to defend her, he's engaging in toxic masculinity, and I'm not.
No, you're not.
Okay.
Because you're defending her.
What if the woman stays to fight on the front line and shoot the Russians with her RPG? Is she engaging in toxic masculinity?
She can't. She's a woman.
Okay.
Women don't do that.
I'm peeping it.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know how it works?
Out of 10, how petty do you think this conversation is?
Yo, they're so
Toxic.
they're so petty. Bro.
Yeah, right? This is a petty one,
That's
right?
ridiculous.
This is a petty one.
Like, well, she
Yeah,
can
you
be
got a bunch of like
toxic
white dudes dying on the
she
front
does.
lines of
She's-
Ukraine,
she's
and we're
a-
like,
she's not a man.
let's take a sting at fucking toxic feminism.
Petty. That's petty as fuck.
Petty.
Petty.
But I say this because it's great to have all these ideals in a modern society and to say all this stuff, but when shit hits the fan, you realize how a lot of these gender norms and gender roles come right back full circle, right? All these ideas are like, we're gonna do all this stuff, we're gonna do all this stuff. It's like,
See, but that's what I mean. It's not about the gender norms and all this stuff. Feminism is just about having the same opportunity. It does not mean we are the same. We are literally not the same. Again, I already described it. Your men's bodies are literally like genetically engineered to be muscular, to burn fat, to be stronger, like to lift heavy things, like, you know what I'm saying? Women's bodies, they're not built for that. If anything, they're built and engineered to be bone dense, like, and to make babies. Like, so we're not the same. No matter what we do, we're not the same. It's just that women would just love the opportunity to do all the same things. It's not that we're gonna suddenly be equal in 50-50 in every single capacity. Like, no, I don't think that's the point at all. It's just a matter of trying to make it equal. So like when it comes to like standards, I would say in the military, like, and women having to do like less push-ups or something, I personally feel like that's wrong. But I also feel like the military changes the rules so they can get more people through. Because I think it'd be the same case for men. If men had to do 200 push-ups in 5 minutes, a lot of men wouldn't make it through. Because a lot of men are just not in that type of shape. But they could get into that type of shape. I think training is what, like 6 weeks? 16 weeks? Or it's just some extended period of time. Like, a lot of people can get into certain shape depending on where they're starting from. But if you have the standard being very high, right, for any group of people, it's going to be hard for them to pass. If you're having an issue of getting enough military personnel, you start lowering your standards. It seems like they're trying to get more women in, so they've lowered the standards for women. I personally don't think that's right, but it allows a lot of those women to get in. Now, there's also going to be that subgroup of women that actually try to adhere to the men's standards just to make the point. Like, for me, for example, if I was to go to basic training tomorrow, probably wouldn't get much done. Because I can't do a push-up. Because I don't do push-ups. So I just don't have the ability to do it right now. I'll probably have 5 or 6 in me once I get to basic training and they scream in my face. But am I going to hit those standards in the allotted amount of time? I'm probably going to have to go back to basic training maybe 2 or 3 times. And there's men that have to go back a couple times in order to pass. But they want to do it, so they keep going back and they do it. I'm sure a lot of women, if they had to adhere to men's standards, a lot of women wouldn't make it. But there would be those groups of women that would. and they would make it because they wanted to. Like, that's the part that I feel like people just graze over, is that a lot of people actually do want to do it. But yeah, and the standards are lower because the government wants more people in there. That's just at the end of the day. If they started drafting and they said the only qualification is can you breathe and can you hold a gun, you would be in there too. Standards are made and they could be changed and they could be altered. Anything can happen with standards.
But you're not to do it when shit hits the fan. I'm not saying there aren't women who are fighting bravely right now, who are helping support and do a lot of this stuff. But I just think it's nice. I think it's funny that the trains come, the women leave. Right?
Quickly.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Quickly.
You know what I'm saying?
But feminists don't say shit, though.
And for the dudes fighting on the front line, it is a relief for them because they know their friends, their family are gone. So they feel like they can fight much more safely. They know that they know that the people that they care about are safe. So it is an overwhelmingly good thing. But I just want people to know about this kind of stuff when they think like, oh my God, men are so privileged. Yeah, are those dudes who are stuck there having to fight in a probably losing battle privileged? Are they? Are they?
And that's why I say they should fight for the right to not have to fight if they don't want to. But that will put the army at a very huge deficit because a lot of men don't want to fight. When it comes to America, every man is not in the military. Like, you know what I mean? Every man can't run 5 miles. Every man, it's just every man. He's not every man's not a soldier. Like, it's just the reality. But can you point to who has created such society standards that men must fight wars? Can you even think about who made that? I wonder who made those standards. I wonder who made men feel like they had to always stand up and fight. I wonder who. Like, I really do. So if they're gonna be sarcastic about it and be sarcastic about feminism, I'll be sarcastic too. I wonder who made the rules. Okay. These societal standards for men. I wonder who made them. So yeah, and at the end of the day, what they're arguing for right now is exactly what we want as well, which is to leave. So as they complain about the fact that those men also want to hop on the train, they're complaining that we get to hop on a train. So it's kind of like y'all just want the same privilege that we have, and we want some of the privileges that you have. So I feel like regardless of whether they think it or not, they actually do want things to be more equal. But they also do understand that we are not the same. And that's all I really have to say about this. Thank you guys for watching. It's Bianca Woke Up Late. Peace.
Just ask some questions. Privileged.
Of course, they have the privilege to fight for their country.
Yes, to die for their country.
No, it's to fight for your country.
They're dying for their country.
They're not necessarily going to die.
Russia about to fuck them up.
Hey, listen.